Hey everyone, how are you doing? Let's do a quick little video here. What's happened today in the market? So obviously, first things first, Feds did the rate cut here. Jerome, teeth biting, angry about it. He finally did. He approved this rate cut. Now, this was a mixture. There were 3 Fed members that did not want to do this. The rest went along with it. Some wanted more. Obviously, the ones that wanted more were the ones that were more on the Trump side. Now, with this, the market immediately after it was announced shot up, and we saw just it wasn't crazy, but we saw some run up here, and then towards the end of the day here, we saw some sell off. We saw investors take a little bit of profit, but all in all, this is probably going to lead to what we have been thinking, gossiping about, conspiring everyone in the market here, from Wall Street to big, small investors, everyone, that this is going to be the moment where we can see the S&P 500 go over the 7,000 point range, the market really run well here, towards the rest of the month. And two, any day, any week here, we should hear from Trump about his new pick as, who will replace Jerome Powell here. So yeah, a lot of exciting stuff coming here. We could see some big runs on some stocks here. And so let's get right into it. So going right into Palantir here, this is kind of the thing right now. Palantir obviously has shot up. It shot up overnight from the big deals here, more big deals. And I don't think this is, if you've been here with Palantir, this isn't a shocker. I don't think anyone's, you should not be, because that is not where you should be with Palantir. The mindset, more than likely, the healthy mindset here to have with Palantir is just like, okay, there's another one. Boom. Okay, there's another one. It's not so much like, wow, they got another one. No, Palantir is going to keep getting deals because their recipe is the best recipe, and everyone wants it in their dinner right now. Palantir is something that we're seeing just completely get crazy, and Dan Ives has been saying this, and he's even more thick in this conversation that we're going to see Palantir reach this $1 trillion, even $2 trillion market cap in the future. But essentially, this AI run that we're seeing right now, with the broad spectrum from the mag to the smaller everything, we're going to see AI, from what we can tell, run at least 2 more years strong in AI. And I mean, there's a lot of evidence to support this. I mean, you can take this all the way to the beginning roots of what we've seen this year start here with, even, just the simple facts of the Trump administration, where Trump is, pushing business. He's pushing this narrative of AI, money, everything. And he's allowing these AI companies to kind of just make tons and tons of money right now with these deals they're implementing, with what he's telling them, hey, a lot of them, hey, we want manufacturing here, I want you to be here. And now we're starting to see even Nvidia talk about, okay, now we can, sell some of these chips we have to China. So I would highly expect that we're going to have another year of just AI stocks completely defining, the support of, like, oh, we're going to have an AI bubble, pop here. I don't think that we're seeing that. We're going to see more ridiculousness in these AI stocks, and they're going to just carve out their own road. Palantir here, at this point with Palantir, here's where I think a lot of people are at right now. So I love going on chat sites like StockTwits, Webull, wherever, even Reddit, things like that, and just listen to see what people are writing, see what people are saying here about Palantir. And I will say there are seasons of where people are feeling different about Palantir, but I think at this point, it's not so much that what do we know about Palantir? Well, Palantir, it's going to keep getting deals. This is just going to be a common occurrence we're going to deal with month by month by month, where Palantir is going to go, they're going to go, hey, we just got this another deal, this huge deal. Okay, great. But two, Palantir already touching $200 here. And two, what's going on right now is that with Q3, when Q3 came out here, it was a great quarterly, but in that two, with that package, Palantir said, hey, Q4 to wrap up the year, this is kind of where we're speculating around this 0.3, 0.3 billion, billion 0.3. So right now, Palantir getting these last little bit of deals here in this year, this is stuff that is going to drive up that quarterly to where, is this quarterly going to be 1.4? 1.5? What are we talking about here? This is where the conversation becomes, even crazier to say, can Palantir touch, forget about $200. Palantir's clear 200. Palantir going back to $200 is gonna be here before we know it, more than likely. I mean, it could be here by the time we're opening up presents here for Christmas. But Palantir, I think, we need to take this to the even more ridiculous scale here. We have a company that is not missing quarterlies. It's actually getting even crazier on quarterlies. It's getting just these insane deals that we just see nonstop right now. And I think there is just this general, you have to come to this place with Palantir where you kind of at this point just have to bow down and go like, okay, I guess this is what this is. This is why saying Palantir could run to $300 in 2026, maybe it's not that crazy. Look at quarter by quarter what we're dealing with here. Essentially, each quarter this year, we've had Palantir do these $30 runs. From Q1 to Q2, there's like if you look at it, there's a $30 gap in there. Q2 to Q3 here, there's like a $30 gap in there. Now, from Q3 to Q4 here, is Palantir, by the time Q4 rolls around here next year to, tell us what we have, are we talking about another $30 push up here from where the last high was? That's essentially what I'm saying, like where the last highs were. So the last high we had right before the quarterly of Q3 here with Palantir, we were, I think we touched, what was it, 112, while market was open. Even pre-market was higher than that. But this is where we could say like, hey, we could just have another $30 push from where the last high was. So by Q4 with Palantir and this unknown crazy quarterly we could be going into where it's going to just defy odds and make the bears, scream again. Are we talking about Palantir touching 225, 220s? I don't think it's that crazy. Okay, and then we're talking about Q1 for next year. Palantir just let's get crazy. Palantir just keeps doing what it does here. By Q2, the next Q1 to start off the year here. By then, are we talking about we're in the 220s, 230s easily? When does 250 come up? Friends, I sit here and go, yes, it's overpriced. It's trading above what it should, times this. I get it. I know. But you're dealing with something that is very unique and odd. You're not only dealing with a company that is bringing in the bacon here. They're making the bears have to eat their words because they keep getting these beautiful contracts. And they obviously, while the Trump administration is here, I think Palantir kind of has the cream of the crop of these defense deals. There's no doubt about it. They keep getting them. They keep, pushing them. And they're getting just these other general deals with companies now. So to say that Palantir is going to, the whale's going to dry up here, I think that's a dangerous place to be. I don't look at Palantir go right now and like, it's dangerous to buy this at 170, 180. If you're going to hold it for 6 months or a year or make a home here, build in a spot with Palantir right now, there's high chance from what we're seeing right now with what this coming year is beholding to investors that you will more than likely be in profit range in the next 6 months with Palantir, even at these ridiculous levels it's at right now. Because if you look at the candlestick chart, if you really pull it back here just the last 15 months, there's a pretty, you don't have to be a stock genius to see what's going on here. There's a pretty much like clear cut imagery of where we're going here, what we've done and where we're going still. It's just repeating the same trail over and over here. So that more than likely is going to continue to happen here. The question is, how much more aggressive can this get? When people say like, Palantir it's just so expensive. It's not even, it's trading times over what it should. I get that, but there's plenty of stocks on the stock market that are doing that. It's not like Palantir is the only stock to have ever done this or even doing this actively right now in the market. Going back to that conversation saying, why this is dangerous here with Palantir. It's dangerous, A, of all, because, it's a situation that it's like I said, it's just going to keep going up. B, they're going to keep getting deals. And, I guess, too, in that conversation, the dangerous part is just being negative about it. I'm an investor, and I like to see everyone do well, whether you're betting, whether you're doing put, whatever kind of option calls you're doing, or your long-term, your short-term, your swing trade, day trade, or whatever it be. I like to see everyone doing well in the market. But, I even had I had a friend a month ago talk to me about Palantir, and they're like, man, do you think it's going to like sell back down to like 110, 120? A lot of people are negative on it. I go, yeah, there's negative comments. Like I said, you can go to StockTwits and find these kind of comments, but they're not working. That's the thing, that's the real, when you get down to, bedrock here of digging out these conversations, Palantir is still producing, crazy deals right now. I think the safe thing to say here is just like Palantir's just getting started. They're in a growth period right now where everyone is wanting to work with them, and they're very popular. You're buying into popularity too. There's a tax on Palantir right now where you're having to buy this massive price with this stock because it's very popular, and people are scared, like, I don't want to miss the boat. I should have bought this last year. I didn't buy it. They're still getting deals. And like I said, Palantir more than likely is going to keep getting these defense deals. And two, with this coming year, we're probably going to see defense be talked about quite a bit more here, because Trump's, he's going to start talking about this Golden Dome deal here again. He's going to start talking about more defense in general. In defense, whatever president's in that seat, sitting down and got their butt in the seat here, defense is always going to be a hot commodity in the stock market with whoever that committee is working with here. So yeah, I don't see a lot of negatives in Palantir right now. I really don't. I look at it and I go, yes, the share price is ridiculous. There is no doubt about that. That is a common thing. I think whether you're bullish or bearish on it, we can all we can have a handshake on. It is ridiculous. There's no doubt about it. But as long as they keep doing what they're doing here, it's just going to keep going. It's going to keep going. There's no doubt about it, because people that were, having negative comments about it months ago or a year ago, they've probably bought in at this point, and they're probably in profit range. It's a dangerous company to bet against right now, especially when they're so popular. Okay, I've been in the stock market for 10 years now. I really have not seen a lot of things like this. I've seen stocks do well. I've seen stocks run. I've seen stocks be completely overpriced to where they should be. But it's all of that combined with popularity, and two, they're so ingrained, they're so concrete pillared in here to this administration. It really tells me like, oh, they're going to keep, that's going to be like the well that just doesn't stop here for at least 4 years. And two, I imagine after the Trump administration is gone, whatever this looks like in 4 years, whoever wins, Palantir was here before the Trump administration. They'll be here more than likely after the Trump administration, because what they have is probably always going to be used for a while here now with just our government. They're not going to let it go here. So at the end of this conversation, I go, I fully expect Palantir to just run. I think every time it sells down to, the old high, and what we saw here just on this last crash in the market where Palantir sold down to a high 150, mid 150, it got bought up. And, maybe that's it. Maybe that's it for the 150s. The last time Palantir had a sinking spell like that, it went down to the 140s, and we haven't seen the 140s since. And that was, September. So think about that. Every time we have one of these dramatic falls off, we fall off the cliff here, it gets bought up and it doesn't touch it again. So it's very interesting. Friends, I'm sitting here as an investor with you, and I go like, it's wild. This is kind of stuff I love in the market. I love when things are just wild in the market. I don't know how people don't get excited in the market, making money, all that. Yeah, it's fun. It's a great time. But watching, companies not only secure massive deals at a crazy amount, and two, just the money in this short time span they're bringing in is it's wild. It's absolutely wild. So with the market going wherever it's going here in these last few weeks here in the market, I expect Palantir to do well. I would not be shocked to see Palantir back at $200 playing around that ball field, any week here at this point, depending on what this market does here. And two, these deals they just secured, this is enormous here. So getting right into Big Bear, a lot of what I said about Palantir, I think this is gonna, kind of shadow Big Bear here too. I don't know that we're going to end the year at like a $10 range. I'm really not even rooting for that. What I think more than likely we could see here, some good news with Big Bear here, is that Big Bear catches a wave here with the market on wherever the market says, okay, here we go. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. If you look at this candlestick chart right now, you can tell that we are definitely building these staircases. It is so obvious what we're looking at right now. So we've got these staircases where the next shelf is definitely going to land on 7+, and I really don't think it's going to be that difficult. Big Bear even today is looking for an excuse to ride up here. Now, like I said, the market sold off towards the end of the day, but I would highly expect, if it's not this week, it's going to be sometime, before Christmas, to where we could see the market start to get a little more playful, get active here, and start to, drag, smaller stocks with it. So, yeah, I think Big Bear has, if you're looking for a swing trade, if you're looking for something to move up here, if you're looking to sell out, whatever you're wanting to do here, I'm not shocked to see Big Bear go back into the $7 range, because this is kind of where Big Bear usually levels out. $7, $8, not that big of a deal. This is kind of where we always end up after, build. This is kind of where we go. Now, getting into next year, I definitely think we're going to see a lot, like I said, with the Trump administration start to talk about defense more. And I believe that Big Bear is going to be right in that conversation, 100%. Like I said, I've said this time and time again, but when that Q3 came out and that memo came out from Kevin, the CEO of Big Bear, he said this. He said, hey, we're still looking at this border security deal. We're looking at defense deals more. We're looking at security deals in general. That is our bread and butter at this point. With that, that's going to bring in a lot of revenue. Look at these deals that Palantir is getting with defense. Imagine if Big Bear got something like that. Could you imagine if Big Bear got a $500 million deal? Yeah, it's cut up over some time, but still, oh my God. They don't even make that in a year. Okay? They don't make that they barely make it in a couple years. Well, they're not even going to make that in a couple years. So it would be radically changing for, this stock right now. It would radically change it. So, be excited, man. This is, I think Big Bear's a ticking time bomb, a good bomb, in the sense of like this could explode in some, double-digit numbers here in 2026. So that's how I'm looking at it. Friends, I want to wish you all the best of luck. This is exciting. We got the rate cut. Let's see what happens here. Trump named this next person, and let's see what this market can do. Let's see if we can get this thing pumping and get break a record here with the S&P 500. Yeah, it's exciting. Bye, everyone.